What a disappointment. What a disappointment. What a disappointment because we were sitting back waiting for Fani Willis to testify on day two, but I guess it was so bad yesterday that the powers that be made a decision you're not testifying today. So instead of her testifying today, the state called her father. Okay, and on my computer screen, that's her father. He testified today, and it did not help or hurt the case. Personally, I really didn't know why her father would actually testify, and from a cross examination perspective, I didn't know what will be the benefit of cross examining because the father is going to look out for their child, but they did basically secure in terms of the timeline that this relationship was literally kept away from her father because the father said, I didn't know this guy. The father said that he moved into the house in October around 2019, and she was dating a DJ. That's what he said. She said he may have been working for the State Department, but he was a DJ and he was constantly moving things around. And he basically confirmed that he met Nathan Wade in a fraternity type situation when she was being sworn in. But he did not recall or remember that. But Nathan Wade said that that's when he met the father. But apparently, the relationship was not mentioned to her daddy, who was took the stand today, and was clear that it was a secretive relationship because if the father knew that who's an actual attorney himself, an international attorney, a big dog, he basically would have had a problem with his daughter dating someone that she has hired to be on the team to prosecute one of the largest cases in American history. Now, her father did confirm about the war chest or the cash chest. The father, he basically said he just came off the stand. He said that he didn't want to be racist, but when he took a trip when he was doing going to Harvard in Cambridge, Massachusetts, that his wife and daughter, and Fani Willis was a small child, and he had a bill of $10. But he did not have any cash on hand. And this is her father, and I quote, saying that when he was doing a internship or taking some classes or working at Harvard during one of the times of his career, he stated that he had a bill for $10. And he said to the judge, I don't want to be racist or anything, but this is a true story. I had a bill for $10, and I'm quoting from her father, Mr. Willis, a bill for $10. He said he had traveler's checks, he had an American Express, and he had some credit cards. And in that $10 bill, they looked at him, and in his mind, because he was black, they would not accept that. So he basically said that he, in his mind, decided to, have cash on hand. Because like I said, money talks, BS walks. Cash talks, BS walk. So if you are, dealing in a racist society, and a lot of times when you have checks and credit cards back then, a lot of people did not think that it was yours, because what is a black man doing with an American Express? What is a black man doing with, traveler's checks and things of that nature? So the father did confirm the cash on hand and the storing of the cash, but the father had where his money came from. But in the Fani Willis case, where the cash on hand, where did this cash come from? That's the question. But it was a Debbie Downer today. I was sitting back just like, thousands of people, if not millions of people, were sitting back waiting on to see Fani Willis testify for the second day, but she did not show up. She's not in the courtroom. She's nowhere to be found. And the state's number one witness that they were going to bring to the stand today, all of a sudden had a doctor's appointment, and he will not be making it. And I believe his name is Mr. Bradley. So all of a sudden, he's going to be held in contempt of court because the judge said that everybody knew that this was going to be at least a 2 day situation, and all of a sudden they had to go ahead and break early because nobody showed up to court. Now, remember, there was a person that testified yesterday for the Trump's team that basically confirmed the relationship and came with some receipts. And Fani Willis got on the stand and said, she is not my friend. So clearly, Mr. Bradley is a friend of Fani Willis. And all of a sudden today, he has a doctor's appointment that he's basically sent an attorney, and the attorney is telling the judge that he's going to make it, but right now he's at the doctor and we don't have a timeline. And can he come on Zoom? Or because clearly, if you're a friend of Fani Willis with all that cash on deck, bruh, I'll run you the bag if you don't show up. If you be held contempt of court, I am the district attorney of Fulton County. I can get you out of that. So we're literally looking at live TV drama in plain sight. And this is why the motivation is to, really understand and not be a whistleblower, but be, intentional to know what's really going on, because a lot of times we give so much respect for attorneys, so much respect for people in high places, so much respect for district attorneys and people at a higher stature, but we realize that game is that's a game. Okay, that is a game. To sit back and yesterday, I know I'm going back and forth, but I wanted to mention something that I didn't mention in a earlier live stream, that when Fani Willis stated that she, went to Napa Valley and she paid, for the trip, he paid on his credit card, but she gave him the cash back. And why she justified with such a large sum, because Napa Valley, they went to a bed and breakfast, and he was partaking in the wine tasting, the champagne and all of these things. But Fani Willis sat back and said, see, that was Mr. Wade. He ran that bill up, and, because I don't drink wine or champagne, I drink Grey Goose. So we have a district attorney confirming that she drank Grey Goose. So now the question is, did you take a couple shots of Grey Goose before you took the stand yesterday? So this is a disappointment. We expected Fani Willis to testify today, the second day, but she did not show up to court today because yesterday did not help her at all. It hurt her. And now we realize why. When somebody is convicted of murder, like OJ, not convicted of being on trial for murder, example, OJ Simpson and a lot of your large murder trials, that they don't testify because they want to beat the case. Because if you got a hand in it, whether you pulled the trigger or not, when you get on that stand, it is proven that the real is going to come out. And we saw it come out yesterday. And somebody that's a seasoned court person basically was one of the worst witnesses for herself in her situation that I've ever personally seen in a live courtroom. Because like I said, you could be professional. And then we have a two-tier government. We have two sides. We have man and mankind. So I've been seeing posts and people who really don't pay attention or really understand or do the due diligence to actually look at the stuff and document it and take notes and respond and react and give commentary to it. They're just looking at the talking points. And somebody told me, yeah, it's Fani Willis. She told him in court. And I'm saying, well, that's that ignorant, I don't want to get flagged, but that's that ignorant N-word stuff that we do. But she really didn't, if you paid attention, she really didn't do well at all. So now that they're cleaning everything up, because I'm looking at a lot of posts that are basically taking bits and pieces to basically run what we call damage control. So the damage has already been there because nobody showed up to court today but her daddy. And her father, only thing he confirmed is that he did teach her, that's daddy's girl, teach her how to keep that bread. But the father stated under oath that he did not know nothing about Nathan Wade until everybody else found out about it. Until everybody else found out about it. And if I was doing the cross-examination, I would have basically said, Mr. Willis, so you basically are confirming that your daughter kept Mr. Wade a secret, and he would have had to say yes. And then the number one question is, what is your personal opinion of counsel dating the prosecution that she hired and basically deposited or wired $650,000 to prosecute one of the largest cases in American history to a personal injury attorney? And I'm sure he would have basically either declined to say anything, or he would have basically spoke the real and confirmed conflict of interest and things like that. So we got to understand, just because you are a attorney, you are a prosecutor, you a defense attorney, a lot of these people, they spend their lives getting that education, but there's something about your education being connected to you, who you are, your wit, your smarts as a person. Because some people can have a law degree, but they don't have no game. So just imagine having that law degree with game. And this is why Fani Willis is who she is, because if you could get up there and say, oh, I don't drink champagne, I drink Grey Goose. And then she say, they ask her, where do you get your money from? I work hard. Okay, because they know how to get that money. So Fani Willis, this situation is basically turning into something that we never thought, because no witnesses showed up today. And Fani Willis didn't show up today. She's not testifying because of what happened yesterday in the news lines and, the spin cycle on how negative this reflects not only her, but the powers that be. The powers that be that basically put the money behind her and put her in this position. And then she's connected to the liberals, the Democratic Party, things of that nature. So it's in their best interest that she do not do anything to hurt this case anymore. So this is why she's not testifying, because I believe she got up there to literally clear her name, but she basically just opened Pandora's box. And all of a sudden her father had to come up there and testify, and he didn't add or take anything away, because he basically said he didn't know nothing about Mr. Wade. He knew about the DJ that he was dating and lived in the house with him while she moved. But one thing that they did do, he basically said he saw his daughter 13 times within the last 2 years. Okay, when Fani Willis became district attorney, she literally moved out of the house in 2019. And he moved into the house in 2019, confirmed with a driver's license and a voter registration in the state of Georgia in August of 2019. So he basically said when she moved out in 2019, he don't have no clue to where she was living. He's never been to that house. And it was for, he said, personal reason. I understand that. But he could not debunk the fact that she was having dealings with Mr. Wade prior to 2019 and 2021, because he never knew about the relationship. He knew all about the DJ, but he didn't know nothing about the relationship until everybody else knew. And he said within the last 2 years, he's only seen his daughters about 13 times, and they have spent probably no more than 2 or 3 hours at a time with each other. And that was so crazy. That was the realest that I ever saw it. And I'm sitting back saying, wow, that's daddy's girl, but she's smart enough to keep secrets, because like I said, when you are in a position of high places, don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. But in this case, don't let daddy know what the daughter's is doing, because this case is like literally finna be blown to a whole nother level. And then her daddy was credible. He's an international attorney. He lived, abroad, and we know that people like this, when they testify, they got to keep it real. And when they asked him, did he know about the relationship? Absolutely not. Okay. He said only he recalled meeting Mr. Wade because Mr. Wade brought it up at her swearing in as district attorney with some fraternity stuff. But then after that, he haven't seen, heard anything until we have heard. But she moved out of the house in 2019. So clearly, the DJ was there, the guy that she was dating prior. But now that she's, doing what she's doing, this case is getting out of control. So if they do come back after lunch, if Mr. Bradley shows up, I'm gonna probably check it out, but I don't think it's going to be broadcast on the major networks, because yesterday it was on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all of those stations. But right now, it was really a Debbie Downer. I was actually hurt that she didn't show up, because I was about to pop some popcorn because yesterday was so good. But nobody showed up to court today but her daddy. And daddy's going to protect daughter, but he could not help her in this case because he, basically confirmed that she moved out of the house that he was living in with her prior boyfriend or man friend, the DJ. And he'd only seen her about 13 times within the last two years. So he could not, agree, debunk, or discredit the fact that the prosecutor or district attorney, Fani Willis, was in a full-blown relationship with the man that she hired, who basically stated that he re-upped or signed the second contract to be on this case while they were in a sexually involved relationship. So, man, with that being said, man, that's my recap or take on day 2 so far. Fani Willis did not show up. Mr. Bradley did not show up. And the only person that testified was her daddy. And with that being said, man, peace out. Hit those likes, hit those subscribe. And like I said, we had a